Good morning. Hello, early risers, and hello, world. It is Tuesday once again. It is on. We are on our second week. Today is Tuesday. Time check. It's 6:02 a.m. and second day of the month. Well, I am so happy to be awake. I am grateful to have slept well last night. I'm grateful for my bed. I'm grateful for the air in my lungs. I'm grateful for my family and friends. And most importantly, I am grateful for you all who I have the pleasure of at least being acquainted, even online, even if we haven't met in person. Today's topic is a continuation of what we have discussed yesterday. And if you had been following me, first week we had started talking about raising our vibrations a day at a time. And this is going to continue on. Together, we're going to try to create that habit of creating that vibration together. And hopefully, we could. We could help each other grow and empower each other to become the better versions of ourselves. So I am gonna go straight ahead and start with our topic for today. Like I said, this is clarity through contrast continued, which we had started as of yesterday. So to make it easier for everyone, let's start. Okay. All right, give me a sec. Okay, all right. Okay, if you recall, we talked about the three steps of clarity through process, which is step one is to identify your goals, and then number two is to do more of it, and then three is to allow it. Okay, so we are gonna okay. It says here identify what makes you feel good and do more of it. So once you know what makes you feel good, you have to do more of it because step two is now you got once you know that that's part of step one actually. When you identify what you feel good or your desires, that's step one. Once you identify that, you have to do more of it. The step two of the process, I take it back, is putting your attention into your desire. So the universe, the law of attraction, senses that and it gives more of it to you. But then again, step three is allowing it to happen. If there are opportunities coming your way, you're gonna be able to open up and welcome any opportunities that might help you become the better version of yourself. All right, like I said again to in the past few days, I reference whatever I talk about from what I read and what I learned from Michael Loshier's book, The Law of Attraction, which if you haven't read yet, don't worry, because as you follow me every day, you're as good as reading the book. So I got you covered. I got you covered on that one. Your goal is to limit contrast in all areas of your life. Um, we talked about the use of contrast yesterday, how we observe the contrast, those that don't make us feel good or doesn't feel right, that puts us in a negative mood are contrast. And there is a way to use that to our advantage to be able to identify our desires by observing it briefly, though, because you don't want to dwell too much in that negative aspect and you attracting negative vibration and sending it out to the universe. So you want to use that. Once you identify your contrast, you have to be able to um, proceed with the next step of the clarity through contrast. You have to ask yourself then what do you want? Because you are uncomfortable with something. You already know that. Now ask yourself, what do you want? By thinking through that answer, you come up with new words and a new answer that is the opposite of what you don't want. and hence already creating those words and that thought process starts creating a positive vibration that the universe, the law of attraction, will be able to sense. And the good thing about this, the universe can only sense, and you can only send one vibration at a time. You are not going to be able to send both. And the law of attraction will remember the present, the current, and not the ones that you've had 5 minutes ago, 5 days ago, 5 months ago, or 5 years ago. Although it is encouraged that we limit the use of contrast in our lives or observing contrast to the minimum time that we can possibly be in that situation, because you don't want, like I said, attracting negative vibration and you creating that cycle of negativity, because the more you get the negativity, sometimes you observe that in such a way that it creates feelings and mood that creates more negative vibration and hence the cycle. So you want to be smart, you want to identify what you don't want, then pause to ask yourself, what do I want then? Or so what do I want is the exact words that Michael O'Shea used in his book. That gives you clarity to answer the question, gives you new words and thought processes that is more on the positive side, hence sending out positive vibration. Think for instance how you, like I said, the examples I gave is like you saw something on like a new ice cream flavor that came up. It looks good, but you try it and then you sense the contrast. Don't actually like it. You doesn't feel good in your tongue, in your taste buds. So that already gives you the contrast. Then right away you think to yourself, what do I want? So you want possibly just vanilla or cookies and cream. So you just get what you want then. And that you move away from the negative and right away move to the positive. Our senses of sight, smell, are oftentimes, and like the physical touch, are oftentimes quick for us to switch from a positive to a negative thought process. You identify right away. You look at the surface. It looks shiny. It looks pretty. You touch it. Wow, it's too hot. I don't like that feeling. You right away in your mind. What do I want? I want. I don't want the hotness. This is too hot for me. So right away, your thought process, you withdraw. I want something cooler that's not going to hurt my skin when I touch it. So that's an immediate response to change it from a negative to a positive. And you got clarity as to what you really want then. But there are situations in our lives that we sometimes dwell much longer on the contrast, and it's harder to just quickly just say, hey, move forward right away. And I'm going to tell you instances such as careers, finances, health, or relationship related are some of those areas in our lives that sometimes we already know the contrast. We know that that doesn't feel good, that doesn't feel right, but we tend to dwell much longer than we really want. So once you're in that situation, I hope you're going to be able to bring yourself to a point to ask, so what do you really want? And through clarity, through contrast, if you're in this kind of situation and it's harder for you to get unstuck from that negativity, you might want to use the clarity to contrast process, by writing down every single thing that you don't want. And this is an example through Michael O'Shea's book. He's got like case studies that he mentioned. Like for instance, this lady who is in a relationship with her boyfriend, and she has been in the relationship for like a year at least or so. But again, she tried to get to stay in that relationship and as much as she could, but more so every day she is getting stuck in that situation that she doesn't really want. And what she did is to start writing down every single contrast that she does not want about the boy. So I'm going to briefly read to you what's in the contrast in the case study that's in the book. In this one, she identified at least nine, and one of which is she didn't like the partner to be controlling, does not like the partner because partner is a poor listener, not affectionate, doesn't care what she thinks or feel, not outgoing, doesn't like traveling, always rushes her, makes decisions without her, and doesn't like movies or dancing. I'm referencing this to a case study in the book, okay? So, like I said, if you follow me through, you're as good as reading the book. So, what she did is she identified as much as she could of the contrast that she didn't like about the situation, about the relationship. And this helps her. She asked herself, so what does she really want? For each and every single one that she asked herself, what does she want? For every negative or every contrast, she writes the exact opposite of what she wants. That gives her clarity as to what her desires are. So, right across each one, she then identifies the exact opposite. She wrote a number one doesn't like the person to be controlling and write exactly the opposite to that side. She asked her after asking herself what does she want, she said she wants someone that's flexible and well balanced. So that gives her clarity as to what she wants, one aspect or one what you call it characteristic of a partner that she really wants, an ideal partner for her. Number two on the contrast that she wrote poor listener. The partner was a poor listener, asking herself, so what do I want? Right across, she wrote and identified after answering that question. She wants a partner that's a great listener. Now she got clarity again. Two clear characteristics of a partner, an ideal partner for her. Number three, she does, in the contrast, she wrote, partner was not affectionate. Ask herself again, so what does she really want? Right across, she wrote in there, she wants a partner that's affectionate and that is sensitive. Again, clarity on that part. Identify the contrast, ask herself what she wants, and got an answer, a clear answer as to what is an ideal partner for her. Number four, she wrote, doesn't care what I think or how I feel. Again, ask herself what she wants. Right across, she wrote, she wants a partner that asks her what she thinks and how she feels about things. Clarity number four, right there. Number five on the contrast, she wrote, doesn't like that the partner is not outgoing. Ask herself what she wants, answer across. She came up with clarity that she likes a partner who will meet her friends and enjoys being with them. That's clarity number five on the ideal partner that she really wants to be with. Number six, on the contrast, current partner that she's stuck with and tried to get us to stay in the situation with, she wrote, doesn't like traveling. So that's a contrast. Ask herself what she wants, came up. She wants a partner that enjoys social situations, loves short term and long term travels, likes adventures, and exploring new places together with her. So right there, she's got at least six clear characteristics of an ideal partner that she really wants to be with. Number seven, on the contrast, she wrote, doesn't like a partner that's always rushing her. Ask herself what she wants, answer right across. She wants a partner that is patient, and allows things to unfold in due time. Clarity to the characteristics that she really wants to an ideal partner, number seven. Number eight, on the contrast, she wrote, doesn't like a partner who makes decisions without her. What does she really want? Came up with an answer. She wants a partner that asks her ideas in decision making. That's clarity number eight for her. And number nine that she wrote in here, she doesn't like a partner that doesn't like movies or dancing. What does she really want? Came up with an answer. She wants a partner that enjoys theater, movies, loves live bands, and entertainment like dancing. So clearly, just by observing her contrast, she wrote them down. And that gives her more clarity as to what does she really want. And then finally had the courage to, I guess, start looking for the ideal partner and move on. She focused her attention onto it and energy onto the ideal partner that she wants. And the law of attraction works its magic, persistently focusing on the ideal partner that she wants until she is given that chance to meet a person who matches that characteristics that she wants, that matches her personality. And then step number three, she allowed it to happen. Much happier person than she was then. So that's just an example. According to Michael O'Shea, though, like I said, he likes using case studies. Um, we need to write down. He has like a tool that technically you can download from the law of attraction book.com/worksheet. It's the same list that this lady in the case study have used that we can all apply to whatever field in our lives that we are being stuck in that situation. You want to start writing down a list of the things that are contrasting that you don't want, and then start identifying by asking yourselves, what do you really want? Right across answering and writing down exactly what your desires are, what you really want. That's going to help us give clarity. He encourages, though, that even though that this exercise is really effective, it is most effective when you add as many as possible to your contrast list. And he said in the book exactly 50 to 100. You can come up with that in as much as you can. But if you can't, don't feel bad. As long as you're starting to identify the contrast and then you move forward so you get unstuck out of the situation. All right. Another example or case study that he um, brought about or talked about in his book is about a guy who had been stuck in an unfavorable financial situation. And his name was Greg, 27-year-old, who is barely just making ends meet. A lot of us probably can relate to this case study. And he is constantly complaining of not having enough money, and in fact, he's always stressed about his financial situation. So, like the other lady in the first case study, this guy, Greg, using the law of attraction or the law of attraction's clarity through contrast, has been stuck in this situation for quite a while now, like probably many of us or many people out there. So by using the clarity to contrast, created his list of the things that he doesn't like and does not want, and then asking across every single each one, what does he really want, to come up with the exact desires and ideal situation that he wants to be at. All right. On this one, I'm going to read them to you quickly too. I'm just going to go over these two case studies, and that's going to give us really good example how to use this clarity to contrast in situations where we tend to get stuck. um, Number one, he wrote in there, he does not like not having enough money. Number two, he does not like always having to pay bills. Number three, contrast, he doesn't like just making ends meet. Number four, as a contrast, he does not like not being able to afford anything that he wants. Number five, he says, money is flowing only sporadically. Number seven, that he does not want, he always makes the same amount of money each time. Number eight, that he doesn't want, money does not come easily into the family. Number nine, he's always struggling to pay rent. Number 10, money issues stresses him out. So clearly he's identified at least 10. He probably could have identified more. I could probably identify more, and I'm probably going to have to do this exercise all over again. And by asking himself the same question, so what do I really want? Across each contrast that he's identified some clarity by answering that question. From Contrast number one, not having enough money. What does he want? He wants abundance of money. From the second contrast, not always having to pay bills. What does he really want? He wants that bills are paid easily and quickly. Number three contrast he identified was just making ends meet. He doesn't like that. Asking himself what does he want? His answers was to have always excess money. Number four contrast he identified was not being able to afford anything that he wants. So what do you really want? He asked himself. He came up always having enough money to purchase whatever he desires. Number five contrast he wrote money flows only sporadically, asking himself what does he really want. He came up with some clarity and came up with an answer that he wants a constant flow of money that is coming in from multiple sources. Contrast number six, he identified. He says he never wins anything. What does he really want? He wrote right across. He wants to win prizes often and receive gifts and many other free things. Number seven, contrast that he identified. He doesn't like always making the same amount of money. Asking himself again, what does he want? He wrote in there, he wants to constantly have an increase in the amount of monetary intake from known and unknown sources. Contrast number eight, he said money does not come easily into his family. What does he really want? He wrote in there, he wants money to come easily to him and his family. Contrast number nine, he's always struggling to pay rent. What does he really want? He wants to be able to let his rent be paid easily, as always, and have money. And number 10 that he identified for the contrast, money issues stresses him. He asked himself again, what does he really want? Writing across, he wrote, he wants money and his relationship with it to feel good. So, like Michael O'Shea said, this is great exercise. The more we can identify as contrast and list down in it in whatever sheet, or if you want to use the worksheet that he has in his website, you can, because that gives you more clarity. The more contrast you identify, according to Michael O'Shea, the more clarity you will generate, which is true, because it kind of helps you build that exact picture with every single detail there is. You just don't want to build a picture of a man with no eyes, nose, ears, or a blank face. You want to build a picture of a person with everything else according to the physical and emotional and social attributes that come along with that person. You want a totality of it. So you are clear with exactly what you want. And when you are clear with exactly what you want, you are then able to move to step number two, which is giving your attention to that desire that you have created and you've identified, focusing your attention and energy to that desire. So the universe, the law of attraction, senses that and gives you more of it. And when the universe starts giving you it back or more of it back, you gotta allow it. You have to give it a chance. And that I'm allowing my friend, that's a sound of a lead coming into my phone. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. I love hearing that ka-ching, ka-ching on my phone. Always like makes me smile. Sorry, I got distracted. All right. Um, and again, wrapping up. Okay, that's up. Sorry about that. Wrapping up step number one, just which is identifying your desires. We're gonna go back to what we've learned from day one, from yesterday and today. Remember that our words generate a vibration, either a positive or a negative, but you don't generate both at the same time. You generate one vibration at a time. And the law of attraction remembers that one that you're currently sending it out, not the ones you had a few minutes ago or a while back ago. Okay. Um, Next one, we identified that words like don't, not, and no give more attention and energy to what we are referring to, precisely to the exact opposite of what we wanted. So we try to avoid these words, and as much as we can, we even had a challenge and an exercise to not use these words. Okay, I just used that word to instead, an example, instead of saying don't panic to a person, you would rather have to say keep calm, because subconsciously the words don't, know, and not are filtered out by the subconscious, and what the brain remembers is only what you were referring to, the panic one. Yeah, or another quick example that they gave in the book is like when I say don't think of the Eiffel Tower, you just thought of the Eiffel Tower. Even if I said to you, don't think of the Eiffel Tower, admit it or not, just me merely saying that word, even if I said the word, don't think of it, it just came through your mind and thought of it. So it kind of filters that. And when you do that, when you use these words, you focus your energy and attention to what you were referring to, hence the negative or the contrast. So we try to avoid these words and rephrase our words, rephrase our thought process to create the other vibration, the exact opposite, and create a more positive vibration. Then once we also have learned to ask, what do we want? Once we have a contrast in our lives, it's not enough that you identify the contrast. You try to get unstuck. Don't dwell in that situation too long. And here you use this single question: what do you really want? And that's going to help you reset that button and reset that negative button to a positive one, positive energy, giving you clarity to what you really want. And like you said, when words change in your mind and in your thought and your feelings, the vibration changes. So that's good news. And the better news is that only one vibration at a time is what the law of attraction can sense and what the universe can sense. All right. Reset your button by changing your words, like I said. And contrast is anything that don't feel good. So once you identify that, like I said, ask yourself, what do you want? You move forward. And once you have the answer, a clear answer that gives you clarity to what your desires are, observe the contrast briefly and use this contrast to gain clarity. Use it to your advantage. How briefly is dependent on the person. You try not to dwell on it too long. And last, that we just talked about, that he suggested, is if you're in that situation that you tend to get stuck in situation that it's really hard to just move away from sometimes, and we tend to dwell much longer, um, you build a contrast list as many as possible. And the more contrast that you have, the more clarity you will have. And the more clarity you will have of what you truly desire and what you truly want, you focus then your attention to it. Focus your attention and your energy to your desires. So that's what the universe will sense. And then you couple this with actionable strategies. You have to work towards it. It's not just enough that you know your desires. That's my take on that one. You have to couple it with strategic actions that you are going to follow through, and you're going to be persistent, putting your attention and energy and um, focus on your desires. You got to be persistent. So your desires become irresistible to the law of attraction, and it has no other choice but to give it to you. And once it gives it to you, step number three comes in, you allow it. Okay. All right. Today's challenge. All right. Oops, sorry. That went away. All right. I love challenges. So today's challenge, I want you to, whatever aspect in your life that you feel like you're stuck much longer that you really wanted, be it money, health, finances, relationship. There are other situations that he gave an example that people tend to get stuck longer. And you can, like friendships, business clients, business referrals, education, health, and sometimes to me, for myself, I guess advertising. I need to work on that. And you create your contrast list, Identify as many of the things that you don't want. Ask yourself what you do want to get clarity as to what you really want. Okay, so that's a challenge for today. Build a contrast list to as many as possible that you want to change in your life, and then ask yourself what is it that you really want. While answering, you cross out the contrast that you have in your list, so you only will see what you want. There's a reason why we are suggesting you cross it out. You cross it out and then you fold it, so you're only looking at the ideals of the situation that you want, because you are done with the contrast. We're getting rid of the contrast. We're going to focus on the desires. So on that sheet, identify the contrast. After asking yourself what you want, and after identifying and having clarity of what you want, cross out the contrast, fold it away, tear it off if you want. So you're only keeping that list of what you truly desire. All right. Hope you guys had learned something from me. And whatever part of the world you're watching, thank you for joining me again. Every day I am back 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope I am able to help raise your vibrations. Together we build that habit. Welcome to the early risers. And if you are a part of this group, I welcome you and hope you gain clarity. My name is Conception Vito, Offshore Business Marketing LLC. And if you want to learn more about my what I do, you can also look it up through my webpage at www.conceptionvideo.com. So happy Tuesday, happy productive fun Tuesday to everybody. Hope you have a great day ahead of you. See you tomorrow. I love you all. Show me your hearts, your love, your wow faces in the comment section below, and I'll be glad to comment back to you.